You're listening to smARTalk, conversations with filmmakers regarding progressive solutions to society's most pressing problems.
All right, everybody, welcome to smARTalk. This is Alex over here at Community Publishing. We're super excited to have some awesome guests tonight, starting with Dr. Lee Francis of Red Planet Comics, books and comics, I should say that correctly. He's also a poet, educator. He's so much more. We also have Karen Criswell, who's the film liaison for the City of Albuquerque Film Office. We're super excited to have her, and she's going to talk to us about a lot of new things that are being rolled out, planned with the film office and the film industry in town in general. So stick around for that. And last but never least, it's Mr. Felix Peralta, and he's a super duper musician. He exemplifies music in New Mexico. He plays so many different styles, but you've probably heard him with Felix y Los Gatos. And he's a businessman as well. As might be preempting his announcement, but he's going to be opening up a business here pretty soon. We'll get into that. And he's also going to talk to us about Genízaro and what that means. And a lot of folks might not be familiar with that concept, but he's going to fill us in. And it definitely points toward New Mexican culture that a lot of folks might not be familiar with. So I'm super excited to be talking to him here soon. So yes, super excited. Let's get started. As I was saying, my first guest is, well, he comes from incredible scholarly stock, son of Lee Francis Sr. He's a businessman, a poet, just a wonderful gentleman indeed. And I'm going to bring him in here to say hello to you all. And here he is, Mr. Lee Francis. Hey, Lee, how are you? What's going on? I'll give you a second there to get yourself together.
Yes, I got my mute. I think you can hear me. You got me?
Yeah. Hey, look, I love the flag behind you. That is so awesome. Yeah, you don't mess around, Lee. What's going on?
I was podcasting. I've been doing interviews and stuff, and I had just this blank wall, and I was like, you know what? I got this flag in my other room. I should put it up here.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No,
I got my flag. This is my dad's flag. So I put this up for my, for my pops as well. So
yeah, and I had just mentioned your dad in the intro. I had the honor, absolute honor, of hearing him speak, and he's is still an amazing spirit and influence on the Native community, and I'm honored to have worked with you now. And This is exciting to have you. I haven't been able to speak with you since the whole Red Planet thing, and I know COVID actually kind of you kind of threw a wrench into everybody's plans, but you all are still kicking butt. So why don't you start a little bit, Lee, just introducing yourself to folks.
All right, everybody. Traditional intro. Kwatsi Halpa, the Washo Washrap. Wahiname Lee Francis, Washesh Kawekame, Itmerikaname, Wahiname, Hawadi, Quischi. So from my family's up from Quischi, and my Hapani Waschi is my clan from my dad's side. So good evening, everybody. Lee Francis, my family's from the Pueblo of Laguna on my dad's side. We are from the village of Pawadi from way back. My mom is Anglo from, as I like to say, the Pueblo of Missouri. So from the great state of Missouri is my mom's side. Proud heritage on this space. And so it's great. I am an educator, I guess, by birth. a little bit by trade. I worked my way through schooling. I got a PhD in education, and then I used that to open a comic shop in
All
downtown
right.
Albuquerque.
Yes, I love
Apparently,
it.
I'm the founder of Native Realities, which is a native comic book press located out of Albuquerque, and the founder of the Indigenous Comic Con, which up until last year, as with many of our friends and folks, was going strong for about for about four years,
Yeah.
and 3 cities and 2 continents,
Wow.
and now we're going digital. We're looking at a digital event in March is our next plan, and Red Planet Books and Comics still going strong.
Well, that's super awesome. How could I forget the Indigenous Comic Con? That's such a wonderful, wonderful time. Like you do so many things. I don't know how you find time for it all. But talk to us. I want to give a shout out to not only Native Realities, but there's other. Jessica Ellen Lopez was on last week, and she's published by another local house, Swimming with Elephants. People
Yep.
in New Mexico. I think sometimes don't realize how many great publishing houses we have here in New Mexico. Rio
Yeah.
Grande Books, they do a lot of great stuff. Of course, the UNM Press. So yeah, talk to us a little bit about the publishing company, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so 2014, I kind of was, being in education and realizing that I'm a huge Indigen nerd, and I really love, I loved comics growing up. And as a lot of me and my colleagues have talked about, is that we didn't really find a lot that represented us, definitely as Pueblo people, right? Like,
Right.
there's so few comics. I'm like, all of my northern brothers and sisters, they've been in comics since way back, not in a good way, mind you. In many ways, they have been, it's been totally stereotypical, but they were there. And I was just like, yeah, my peoples are like, man, we're farmers. Like, what you gonna write about? Like, oh, they wrestled an ear of corn today. I'm like, yo, I mean, man, ain't nobody in the 50s, 30s, 40s, and 50s want to see that. So,
Yeah.
and especially for my students. So I was like, you know what? I grew up on comics, and I felt like it was really important that we were able to start publishing Native comics, like Native centric comics that told authentic and dynamic stories by, for, and about Native people, right? Like our own folks, in a way that didn't follow through with so many 90%. 95% of the comic tropes. So 2014, we did small singles, independent work. We published our first like trade paperback anthology, which was Tales of the Mighty Code Talkers. We followed that up with Dear Woman. We've done educational pieces, which is Native Entrepreneurs. And then prior to the pandemic hitting, we did our big book, Ghost River. I was trying to see if it was on my shelf. So Ghost River, which is the fall and rise of the Conestoga, talks about the Conestoga Massacre of 1763. So
Yeah.
I had the distinct honor to be able to represent my brothers and sisters from the East Coast in terms of their work, the Conestoga people, the Lenape people, and work again with the incomparable Washoya Alvitre. So yeah, we started just throwing down, and we're still rocking and rolling. We got 2 books coming up on deck that we've, that are going to
Yeah.
be
Is that the
announced.
anthology I have on the screen? One?
So we're going to be, actually, I guess 3. So we've got anthology 2 is coming out.
Yeah.
We've got a water protector anthology that's coming out, chronicling, some of our water protectors. And then we have one that we're working on around werewolves.
Wow,
So that
that's
one's
so
coming
cool.
up. So that's about all I
Love
can
it.
give everybody. If you see some
A little
Facebook,
tease, a little tease from
a
Dr.
little
Lee
tease for
Francis.
everybody up in this space right here.
Yeah,
That's
and
the cover.
before we move on to Red Planet, to the bookstore, I want to. We'd be remiss not to mention the Biden administration signing of the cease and desist order to the XL pipeline. And
Yeah.
Lee, this is a progressive show. I'm a progressive, unabashed. Is it unabashed?
Really?
Unabashed. You're the teacher.
Really? You want a bitch? You want a whatever you want to.
And I worked for Bernie, so I've been enjoying the memes. But I sincerely hope that this keeps moving in that progressive manner. I know you share a lot of my sentiments, and so
Me too.
yeah, and so we're excited about that.
and I think with the publishing and the things that we do, I think there is a necessity to, in many ways, to support that, right? Because we know we're smart people, and I know everybody out there watching smart people, and we know that the burdens of government is that, they ain't going to do what we want all the time. Sometimes we're going to get a win. Sometimes we're going to get a punch in the face. Like, I mean, that's how, sometimes you're going to get like thrown in the gutter, and you got to have to do that for 4 years.
That sounds like
what
my
happens,
first marriage.
Right? Yo, that's my name's Paul. That's between y'all. But I feel like if we can continue what we saw throughout Native history and publishing within Native history is that the publishing industry was used as a propaganda machine to continue to support and to make it easily digestible for a population that didn't necessarily want to murder all the Native folks. But when you kind of put it into a space, it's just like, oh, I read this comic or I read this book and they seem so villainous, or, oh, I read this comic or I read this book and, well, they must all be dying, because it allows the natural, like, I know I disagree with some folks, but I truly naturally believe that the majority of people are not psychotic, right? That there is a moral compass. And if you provide a direction for the moral compass, then they move in the proper direction. But if you override that moral compass, then it's so much easier for them to go into sort of the base lizard brain, right? Mm-hmm. So when you see the ways that Native people were represented for 400 years, it was very easy to lizard brain that stuff. It's like all of a sudden you got Injun Joe and Tom Sawyer, right? So it's so much easier to say that, and all the cowboys and Indians and John Wayne shooting up Native people. I'm like, it's so much easier than to justify genocide and manifest destiny than it is to be like this doesn't seem right. We probably shouldn't be doing this, but all of a sudden you open up a comic or you open up a book or you see a movie and you're like, well, it looks like they're already all dead. Or, well, Jenny, I guess they're all murderous villains anyway. I don't feel bad about taking their land. And then that creates a whole, it's a pop culture propaganda machine. So our work is around changing, and I know we got a long way to go, but it's around spinning that propaganda machine and fighting the fight against them, right?
Yeah, I coming from the Northeast and from New York specifically, there's a lot of people out in the Northeast who feel like Native people are pretty much gone, and there's a few pockets here and there, and of course not, but that's because of what you just said, how Native folks have been treated in the media. And so I have a Native little Navajo little girl, Marisol, who wrote an awesome book. And I think you and I are inspired by the same kind of motivation, is to get these voices and these art and music and all that represents the different cultures that are still around, vibrant and contributing to the national discourse. We see Deb Holland over there. We're looking at the Red Planet books and comics. And tell us, Lee, how does a space like that contribute to solving these problems where folks are underrepresented? And in the case of Native folks, people think they're not even here.
Yeah. So what I looked at early on was recognizing where these sort of what we say the choke points in the river, right? And so it's not of people. They're not putting them up on their front shelves. The companies, the big distribution companies, aren't like front loading them unless they're really, really like these big dynamic books, and God love our, God bless our Tommy Oranges, and all of our amazing, Native authors that have hit this stratosphere. Like, that is so brilliant and beautiful. But unless you have little folks like me, and you have little folks like Birdcage Books in Rapid City, Resistencia Books in Austin, Texas, Birch Bark Books up in Minneapolis, and all of our Canadian brothers and sisters, unless you have a base and fundamental economy that's going to continue to push these, you're not going to see any changes. Because when the industry decides to flip the switch, I've watched it for 30 years at this point, right? Since I was 15 years old, 30 years, watching them, when they flip the switch and they don't want to support Native books anymore, gone, baby. And it's that quick. And that's how the industry works. So what I recognize is that we need to eliminate those choke points by showing them that there are, and showing the industry, the big industry, the small industry, and everybody in between, that they have a place that they can promote, sell, distribute, represent, and get these books out the door, right? Get the merchandise out the door, get everything out the door and into the hands of not only our people, but all the people that want to see dynamic and amazing stories, that indigenous stories, true stories, fiction stories, superhero stories, space ranger stories. There's so much room for that. And if we don't have spaces to push that out in these locations, then you end up with these choke points. They can bottleneck us every time. And I've seen it happen in education, and time again. So that's why I think Red Planet is like standing with our native collective of native bookstores and native bookstore owners. That's where we end up.
That's so awesome. And we're sharing your website, and it's super cool. I see your references to Star Wars and all that. And just so you know, I'm
and also
100...
we're nerds.
Yeah, for sure. I
like natives get to be nerds. Check it, right?
There you go.
We don't have to sit there and be like, let me get my head and my feathers. And I was like, listen, I know some of my brothers and sisters, that's their thing. I was also like, and some of us, dude, I wear my Star Wars t-shirt. Like, that's how I rep my days. So like, we all get to enjoy these spaces. We get to find these spaces that bring us comfort and delight. Like, not only do we sell native stuff, we sell comics. I was like, man, I know kids, I know everybody likes comics. What we do privilege is native, people of color, Latino, Chicano, right? African-American, Asian-American. Like, we want to privilege that stuff. We want to privilege all of us that are not in the majority.
We kind of do the same thing at Community Publishing. We have an anthology coming out that you might be interested in, Native American Church, and it was just 100 years a couple of years ago, and we had this native elder who wrote a beautiful anthology. So that got delayed, of course, because of COVID, but I think we're going to put it out online, and then we can have the book release, the physical book release, at your store, or we'll talk about it for sure. But anyway, no, I totally appreciate what you're saying. And one of the things you're talking about is creating this kind of circle of consumption, creation, building up the economy, and showing these folks that, even after the trend towards native media is over, because it's just a trend, there's still worth there, intellectual, creative, and economical, which is the bottom line, as you know. So tell us a little bit about the store in terms of COVID hours, what you guys are doing, what are the options?
Sure. So you got the website. So it's Red Planet Books, the letter N, comics.com. That's where you can find all of our stuff. We got our whole list. We got some really cool stuff coming out, at least online, because we're all still kind of in our COVID caves. However, we are open and holding to the rules of New Mexico. So it's one person / one family at a time in the shop. We got screens. We got folks scrubbing things down. Right now, we're very much in like kind of distribution mode. So when you go in, it is you're actually seeing a workspace, because we're trying to we've moved the shop forward. So we used to have like a really long shop, so we've moved it forward. And so it's just like, it's pretty small and contained, but you can find everything there at the shop. You can find everything online. Our COVID hours are Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Unless otherwise noted. It gets a little brisk in the shop during the wintertime, because we're trying to fix our heat. There's some heating issues. So sometimes we basically just like, if it gets too cold for the staff, I'm just like, hey, put a sign on the door and go home. We don't want you to freeze out. So
everybody wear your Bernie Sanders mittens.
Wear your mittens.
Hey, Lee, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You have a few questions here on the Facebook Live feed. So welcome to stick around. We have Albuquerque Film Office coming up next. Stick around. I'd love to have you back on, and you and I have to talk online on how we can work together and
absolutely, my friend.
Keep it moving forward. Appreciate you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Take care.
Hey, you too, man.
Adios.
Adios.
Yeah. All right, that's Lee Francis, Dr. Lee Francis, super duper advocate of the arts. More than an advocate, he's putting his money where his mouth is. It's got a great bookstore down there, and please check it out. We'll have all the information online at communitypublishing.org/SMARTalk, and you can check out information about all of our guests. We have Karen Criswell coming up next of the Albuquerque Film Office. So all you wannabe actors, get ready and ask some questions. I've got a few questions I'm going to ask her, and we will be with her right after this short break. I've never been much of a flag waver, but as a Latino, I think it's really important that we diversify the media. And that's the reason I'm bringing on folks from underrepresented communities, so we can hear their perspective. And diversity of socioeconomics is important as well. All these voices need to be heard in order to make more informed decisions about the direction of our country and our world. All right, here we are with Karen. How's it going? How are you, Karen?
It's good. How are you, Alex?
I'm pretty good here. I hope you got to hear a little bit of our friend, Mr. Lee Francis there.
I did. That was phenomenal. He's amazing.
Are you familiar with Lee? And
I wasn't.
No. Okay. Well, we got to make all those connections over here. But Karen, I'm excited to have you because you're over at the film office. And why don't you give us a little brief history of how that all came about?
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I am a fairly recent transplant to New Mexico. I moved here in 2015. So I've been coming out though to Taos, New Mexico for many, many years. I worked with the Taos Talking Pictures Film Festival when it was in existence around the turn of the century, which sounds like a very long time ago. But I've been living in Taos since 2015. And when the pandemic hit, the ability to sort of go back and forth to Los Angeles as a consultant, which is what I've been doing, I left the studio. I used to work for DreamWorks Studios, and I worked there for a pretty long time. I was there almost 18 years and was vice president of operations. So like I said, when the pandemic started, it was a little bit, it sort of shut down my consulting business. I was flying back frequently back and forth to Los Angeles and doing that commute.
Okay.
And
the Southwest Special.
Yes, exactly. I got my companion pass, my frequent flyer miles, which have been completely useless because no one's traveling anywhere these days.
Yeah, no.
But through a friend of a friend, I got a call and they said, they're looking for a film liaison for the Albuquerque Film Office. And I said, yes, I'd be very interested. I have obviously, since I've been coming out here and working with festivals and attending festivals, and I've had films that I've produced in festivals, both Santa Fe and Taos. I was really familiar with the film scene here and really jumped at the chance to be able to be more involved and to actually be able to live and work in the same place in my industry. So it was sort of a great combination of circumstances for me to come to Albuquerque and to be able to live here now. So
yeah,
I'm very
that's
excited.
why I'm waving my flag.
I know, I love it.
And I want to give a shout out, Karen, to I don't know if you got to work in this. You were in the same administration with Carlos Contreras. He used to be the marketing director for you all at the city, and these are his pieces of art, and he's one of the folks that conceptualized this whole in Albuquerque. So I want to shout out to him and Art on the Rio. So Karen, how long has the film office been active here in town in Albuquerque?
Well, it's been active for a while, but I think it was back in around 2004 that it really solidified under the Economic Development Department to really start working the film industry as a key economic driver for the city.
Okay, well, you just transitioned into my next question. Talk to us a little bit about what kind of funds we're looking at. I mean, you have to get specific into numbers, but so I would imagine when movies film here, they pay for permits and all that.
They do. There's a certain amount of that money that goes into, the city's general fund. Some of it goes to Open Space Alliance if they shoot on in the open parks and recs area. And there's a lot of that money gets tracked, and it gets tracked very well by the state through the tax rebate incentive program. And I know they post every fiscal year all of the statistics. So if somebody's really into the numbers, that's the best place to go for that information. But a significant portion of that is shot and filmed, and that direct spend does go into the city of Albuquerque.
Right. And then there's and so can people get to that information through your new fancy website?
They can. We have a
All right,
link
it
to
put you
the
on the
NM
spot
Film.
there. Yeah.
We have links to the nmfilm.com website for a couple of really important things: the incentive program and the COVID safe practices, because all of those are administered by the state, and that is the best source of information for that.
Yeah.
So we just direct link right to them.
Kinda
But
like a
otherwise,
central
there's a
website.
lot of Albuquerque specific film industry type information on our new website.
Yeah,
So,
and we're going to check it out here in a second.
great.
But I did want to mention, this is, we kind of, not kind of, we're very intentional on the show about progressive solutions. And
Mhm.
you and I talked a little bit offline about how the local economy is affected by the film office and the arts. And I know that there's these peripheral businesses that have sprang up around the film industry here. Maybe
Yeah.
you can talk to us a little bit about the economic impact of films for
I think,
Albuquerque.
I think film has had a real, strong impact on the local economy. It has brought in millions of dollars and hundreds of jobs in the last, a decade.
Wow.
It's really exploded since the, sort of the Breaking Bad franchise really put Albuquerque on the map as this sort of industry hotspot. Movie Maker Magazine has voted us #1
Oh, wow.
place to live and work
Congratulations.
as a filmmaker. So we're also really enticing, sort of the film industry remote workers, because they,
Yeah.
because of the nature of the business, VFX artists and animators and some of the other types of professionals, they can live here and not have to live in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's the idea of creating an arts ecosphere, right? So
Absolutely.
folks can stay here.
Absolutely.
And we do have a robust theater scene here, and some of the schools have great acting programs. Shout out to Albuquerque High and the Albuquerque Academy. They both have great acting programs. We have a question here in terms of do you all provide any resources or any I don't know, maybe just listings of if youth want to participate in the acting industry, are there any internships available, or how does that work? Are there any opportunities there?
We actually do collect resumes. We've also been doing some quarterly webinars since COVID hit. We did not do one in Q4 last year because we were busy with some of our other projects, but we did some special workshops, and we worked with a local producer, Brent Morris, and did several classes on breaking into the business online for students at Papa Arts, at UNM, CNM, and we want to continue to do that. We also, like I said, gather resumes. This was really about how to promote those resumes, how to put them in the right format, what to list if you were wanting to be a PA or to get onto set. And it was great. Brent was really helpful in terms of giving out some really great advice to young filmmakers that are trying to get into the business. So we continue to do that. And anytime productions ask us for local talent and local resumes, we definitely pass those along.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So what would be the best way for folks to jump on the new website?
Jump on the new website. We have
Okay.
a contact form on the website where they can submit. And the new website is abqfilmoffice.com. And there is a resource directory. So if you are a local business that does any kind of production related support, we definitely want your business in our resource directory for Albuquerque. And
Awesome.
it features your logo and then just a basic paragraph information about your business and how to contact.
Okay, so it's all up on your new website. Well, we're gonna take a quick little break here, let everybody get a little bit of water or whatever, and we'll be right back, and we'll show everyone the website, and then you'll talk to us about I know we're under COVID and all that, but you know, life goes on, and
Yes.
there are some movies planned for 2021. There's some movies that finished filming throughout all this, so we
Yeah.
can get into that on the other side of this little break we're going to take.
Great.
All right, we'll see you back here in about a minute.
Los ideas must be a gift from God. Oh, how I've never felt so alive. Cuando miro por allá es nuestra ciudad donde nació. Quien yo por allá es donde tomó el agua, es donde nació revivar. Yo soy hijo de Burke, yo soy hijo de Burke, yo soy hijo de Burke, yo soy hijo de Burke que no.
All right, all right. So we're back. That was Reviva. That was a little ad we did with them. They're a local band, Karen, and I really recommend them. RevivaBand.com is their website. And yes, community publishing started here in Albuquerque a few years back, and we've gone from books, blogs, and now podcasts. And so we're super excited to be back here with Karen Criswell. And Karen, we're going to unveil the website. I'm so excited.
Yay.
I'm so excited. It's such a cool website. And
Thank
maybe
you.
you can walk us through some of what we're about to see here. Super cool. Through the magic of the internets, as the previous president once said. And there you go, Karen.
There
Check
we
it
go.
out.
The main page.
Yeah, it's so awesome. It's slick and beautiful. And how long has this new site been up, Karen?
We just launched at the beginning of this week. So this is brand spanking new.
Nice.
But we've made it really user-friendly. It's got a really easy interface. We worked with a local website developer and designer, Lion Sky, and they did an amazing job. You can see it's very easy to get to the request permit part, so that in the radio button up at the top right hand corner, it's got filmed in Albuquerque, which shows all of the movie posters of everything that's been filmed here. And if you click on the poster, it tells you what year. It also has the list of all of them as well.
What do you want me to click? I'll click.
Yeah, if you want to go, well, if you want to go down, yeah, if you go down, page down there, we just did a new promotional video that you can watch here. I think you have a shorter version of it. This is the longer one.
Yeah, I've got that one queued up, but
sure. And then if you go up to the top, there's where, Movie Maker voted us best place to live and work as a filmmaker. Yeah. And then if you go to the Filmed in Albuquerque,
let's do that.
That'll show you all of the movies that have filmed here.
Oh, so this is wonderful.
At the top, we have some of our popular film productions. And if you page down, then you get everything that's ever been filmed here.
Oh, the whole history and all that. So that's wonderful. Let's take a look at these up here. These okay, these are the popular ones. Where are the kind of the more recent ones?
We don't have those yet because we have to wait till the studio gives us clearance.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So you're only going to get us through around 2019. The 2020 films have not yet been released for publication. But as soon as we get them, we will change this. This is a living, breathing website. It's not static. Everything is on a rotational. So every time you come to the site, every new visit, you'll get a different top line of films or a top line of resources. So we're giving everybody sort of equal airtime.
Okay, well that's pretty awesome. And the Avengers, I didn't know that they filmed here. I'm probably the only person in town who doesn't know that. But
They film part of it, yes. And then, and another thing I'd really like to show, if you don't mind clicking on the
sure.
resource directory, we've just started populating this with local businesses, but this is where people can put they can submit at the top of the page. There's a submit your business. And we really
there
want
you
to
go.
encourage local businesses to submit their business to the website. We want to have this platform available for local Albuquerque businesses and resources for the industry, and so that there's sort of a one-stop shop for productions, both local and out of state, that they can come to for the things that they might need to make their movie.
So this is where they integrate with you all, and it looks like it's pretty easy. You submit your business, and I'm
It's
sure
your
there's a
business,
form.
and you walk through a form. It's pretty self-explanatory. I think we've got about 30 or 40 businesses in there. We want to get it as full as we possibly can.
Yeah, no, there's some notable folks here. Well, that's awesome because I know a lot of folks know that the film industry has been here for a little bit, and we've had tax incentives and all that, but folks always want to know, well, how do I get involved, or how does this affect us locally?
Right.
And really think you all are doing a great job.
Thank you. And if we have time, one last thing is the
Sure.
locations.
No, yeah.
We've started, we're pretty proud of the website. We worked really hard on it. If you go to
I'll keep
location,
clicking.
go to the locations.
Locations.
Yeah,
All right. There
over.
we go.
There we go. Location.
I like that.
We're,
That's the Rail Yards Market
yes, we're
building.
developing. We're going to develop this as this is the only one we have in right now, but we want to work with productions going forward, both local and out of state, to have before and after location shots, so that we can show how a little bit of the magic of film,
That is so
and how it
cool.
transforms the set when they go into film. So that's just one of the
that is beautiful. That's so awesome.
and if you page down, there is now a photographic, if you keep going down this page, there's a location photographic database that we are compiling that is specific to Albuquerque, that has, a lot of location shots of places for productions to like page through, and we can make these available to productions when they want to shoot or looking for a particular location. We're very much want to push the fact that Albuquerque can look like so many different places. It's got so many diverse landscapes and neighborhoods and structures that can look like anywhere, really. And we have doubled for a lot of places.
Oh, look, that's so cool. So this is kind of how you all interface with the film industry. They can come on here and they can see all the super cool possibilities. I know this house right here, that's up a little bit. I guess that would be south of Central. It's called we call it Edo, but I know some people don't like that name. I forget the name. I forget the name of that neighborhood, but they have the old Victorian houses.
I'm still learning all of the geography and all of the neighborhoods and all of the, ins and outs. But what we really were trying to develop, and for myself, my input was, if I were producing in Albuquerque, because I have produced and directed film in the past, what would I want to look for and see? So that was one of the inputs that I brought to the table with our team when we were developing this. But I think it's really shaping up to be very nice, and it'll continue to grow. We're just getting started.
Let's take a peek at my old stomping grounds, the Rail Yards over here. This website is so easy to use. It's smooth, and here's the big building there.
Yes.
What was this one called? I'm trying to remember. We were in the blacksmith shop, the smaller one.
Right.
I forgot what this one was called.
The shop, the blacksmith shop. I'm still learning.
Yeah. And there's these tracks where the trains used to pull up, and they would be repaired, and they'd put them on this other thing to go back and forth. A shout out to the Wheels Museum, who are on that property, who are on the 29 acres. And if you are interested, out there and getting to know more about the history of these buildings. You know, Karen, this is from this neighborhood is called Barelas, and it's one of those founding neighborhoods in Albuquerque, along with downtown. And for the longest time on 2nd Street and 4th Street, those were main thoroughfares for economic activity. So you all and the rail yards and there's some more ideas for development. Bringing this to life again is an economic boom for the neighborhood as well. So kudos to the film industry for working in this neighborhood. And that's the thing, you know, Karen, if I were just as a regular person, it's awesome to have the film industry here, but having you on kind of helps us make those connections as to how the film industry benefits us here in so many different ways. So yeah, I really thank you for that. I want to watch this clip that you sent over.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, let's check that out, and then you can tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Sure.
I'm going to do this one a little bit differently, so folks don't have to see the whole screen. And Karen, this is a podcast, so let's remind me to make sure I speak descriptively. We're looking at a video of provided by the film office, and the first frame is Albuquerque with the Sandias in the background, and we're gonna take a quick peek. Here we go. Actually, this can go full screen, so maybe I will reconsider how. Okay, let me show this. I'm so sorry, I queued it up one more time. Thank you. Here we go. Wow, that was super duper cool. And who did you produce that with, Karen?
We produced that with another local company, Jack and Flux. So that was,
Wonderful.
yeah, and they did a great job. They've been doing some promotional videos for both the film office and economic development. So
Okay.
working kind of overlapping on sort of campaign for remote workers. Obviously, the film industry has a lot of that ability for workers to work remotely, as we were talking about a little bit earlier.
Yeah, we were definitely. That's
Yeah.
so important, and definitely it's something that I want to talk about next before you go.
Sure.
What plans are we in the film office are we rolling out outside of the website, which is beautiful, during COVID and post-COVID, if you can speak to those two.
Sure. Well, when I came on in April of 2020, we were in the final stages of developing a digital permit process. So we launched that in May,
Oh, nice.
but we didn't really start issuing permits until production came back online sort of slowly and strategically in October of 2020. So we did issue permits for the last quarter of last year, and it works great. It's an amazing way of expediting everyone who has to sign off on things within the city's structure have access to the digital permit process. It's great for producers. They can track the process of the permit, where it is, if more documentation is needed. It really expedites everything. And we think,
well, how long does that process usually take, Karen?
We ask for 3 to 5 business days for processing permits ordinarily, mostly because it depends on the complication of the set and how many days and what you're doing, and if you have pyrotechnics and all these other things, depends on how many other city departments have to sign off on it. So I think the more complicated a production, the longer it takes. So if you're doing closing city streets or that type, have to do intermittent traffic control. All of those variables sort of play into how long it takes to process.
And so the folks start with you all,
Right.
and then you, with your new website, can direct people to where they need to go.
Yeah.
It's very much streamlined. That is so wonderful, Karen, and I appreciate having the film industry here And it's honestly, as someone, like I said, I'm from New York, and I've got all my friends and everybody hearing the buzz about what's going on out here. And so that's wonderful. And folks like you are making that happen. And I want to shout out a good friend of mine as well, Mayor Tim Keller, who's really a proponent of the arts. He helped with the whole rail yards, initiative. And so, well, you know, as welcome to Albuquerque. It looks like you all are doing some great work over there. And we look forward to having you on again as we keep rolling down the road of working with the film industry. And I was mentioning to you off the air that we have some production companies that are going to be coming on the air with us and talking about what they do. But if someone is interested, go to the website. Karen, can you give us that URL again?
Yes, it's abqfilmoffice.com. And please contact us, contact me. I have a open door policy. I want to talk to people and filmmakers who work and live in Albuquerque. We're here to support you, and anything I can do, I'm ready to help.
And Karen, are you, so you're all working remotely from during COVID? Or?
Yes, I think I've been working remotely almost the entire time. We sort of were kind of getting back sporadically into the office, but it just, with the new surge in cases and whatnot, it's just safer this way.
It really is.
Well, it's not forever. It will end.
It's not forever. Thank you for saying that. And
not forever.
And you all have awesome plans, and we're going to get past this together. And then I really thank you so much for coming on, Karen. And like I said, we'll talk to you soon. Have a nice rest of your night. And I encourage you to stick around for the next part of this with Felix Peralta. He's an amazing musician and he's a New Mexico music legend, and I don't say that lightly. So thanks a lot, Karen.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. Have a nice night. All right. Yes, that was Karen Criswell. So exciting. And next, last but never ever least, is Mr. Felix Peralta. All the information about Karen and the film office will be on our website, communitypublishing.org/SmartTalk. But now we are going to welcome in one of the legends of New Mexico music right after this short little break. I'm bringing on artists of all mediums to talk about progressive solutions to our most pressing social problems. I'm very intentional about that. We need to identify the community's needs, come up with some bold solutions, and take 2 steps forward and stop messing around. All right. We're not messing around over here because we've got the one and only Mr. Felix Peralta of Felix y los Gatos. Hey, brother, how's it going? Talk to me.
How's it going, man?
¿Cómo estás?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Right on, man. I'm doing good, man. Good to see you.
Yeah.
It's been a while. How's it going, Albuquerque, New Mexico?
Yeah, well, I'm a little jealous because I see you're doing a lot of things up north, and then you're back in town. And of course, you're always careful. I'm not trying to suggest that, but you're still active and creating something even while we're kind of like in this pause situation, you know what I mean? But you've been creating stuff, and I heard a little rumor that I want to know if you can verify for me. But first, Felix, before we even go there, it's a good rumor. It's a good one. But before we even go there, tell us a little bit about yourself, your history, your family. Talk to me. Talk to us.
Well, my family has been here probably for, who knows, 300-400 years, if not a little bit more. I've got 30 to 40% native blood in me, so we've been here for our indigenous blood have probably been here for 1,000 years or whatnot. But from here, from La Jolla, New Mexico, down to Tomé, New Mexico, and I was born and raised in the South Valley of Albuquerque. And
born and raised in the South Valley.
Felix. Yeah, so I'm a musician with Felix y los Gatos, and other than that, I do a lot of session work with many other artists throughout
Yeah.
the country. So yeah.
Hey Felix, we're gonna play a new offering, and just so I can clarify that, we're not gonna play it right now, but that's you solo, or is that with the band?
That's it's pretty much my solo stuff that I play recorded at Rio Grande Studios.
Yeah, and those guys do great
Uh,
work. Shout out to Rio Grande Studios. Those guys are awesome.
right.
So Felix, when it comes to your style, and I obviously I know you personally. You're very influenced by Zydeco and some of the Cajun sounds, but you blended into a unique sound here. What do you call it? New Mexico?
Well, yeah, I mean we call it a green chili gumbo.
Yeah, that's
Is
right.
one of
Green
the
chili and
terms.
gumbo.
So, and then you have someone else called it, he mixed Zydeco with Tejano, and they got
Okay.
Zydeco music. But
And
I
how
like the
did
green chili gumbo.
and whenever we meet a great musician like yourself, how did you come about that mixture? Like, what did you get influenced by when you were younger, and how did you come about like picking the guitar as your instrument? Because I know you could sing
Well,
as well.
yeah, I mean, my grandpa played accordion, and he's from Tolman, New Mexico, and he his dad played harmonica, and we could go all the way down the line, man. My family are all a lot of musicians, and then of
Wow.
course my good friend that I've been playing with for 20 years, Mr. DB Gomez, he plays accordion, so we just started messing around, playing, and it just kind of started mixing. We started playing some polkas, some waltzes, and then we heard the Zydeco sound, and we were like, wow, this is danceable. You know,
Yeah.
Felix y Los Gatos is pretty much a danceable band. That's what we want. We want to get everyone going.
Yeah,
So
and
we've
you
had
do
the
a great
yeah,
job of it. You do a great job.
yeah, and
Yeah, and
go
I
ahead.
and I've booked you for some shows with Money Plus the Music, and sometimes I forget I'm working
Right,
because of your music, and I'm having a good time. Well, but it's
right.
all about a good time, Felix. Your shows are legendary, and you've always been a stand-up, straight-up kind of guy. There is a subject I wanted to touch with you that we talked a little bit offline. It's called Genisaro, all right? Am I pronouncing
Uh-huh.
it correctly?
Yeah,
Genisaro. Tell us a little bit
yeah.
about that.
Well, it's definitely, it's in the history of New Mexico. It's a complicated history of both Indian and I guess Hispanic ancestries here in New Mexico. Uh, as Hispanic and Native American ancestry, not all of it was nice encounters back in the day. We're talking 100, 200, 300 years ago, and is that's why I love the history so much. We could trace both sides. I could trace about 30 to 40% from Abiquiu
Wow.
to northern to the Comanche Indians up in the northern Mexico, all the way down to the Mexican Indians.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not, and it's not just my story. It's pretty much all of Hispanics from New Mexico. We have 30 to 40% Native American according to the DNA testing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Felix, that's super interesting because I think my family's from South America, and we have similar Spanish history with the indigenous mixture, and post-colonialism.
right,
Folks were like really claiming their descendancy to Spain. Totally understand that, but
right.
now as times have moved on, we understand. Hey, we have indigenous blood as well, and for us, we call it mestizo. And you probably heard that word
Uh-huh.
before. And
Right.
Genisaro, and I did hear a little story. Is it true, or have you heard that these Genisaros were actually slaves that were taken by the Spanish, made them to slaves, and they were integrated into the society? Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. Like I said, a lot of it wasn't in nice encounters. It was,
Right, right.
they didn't just kind of fall in love with them.
Yeah, that's right.
They definitely, there was a lot of trading of people, in New Mexico, and it was either for you know, a lot of the Comanches would, you know, raid, the Apaches would raid. They would steal either the Spanish, you know, families or Spanish kids, or vice versa, you know, and they would trade. They'd be like, okay, well, we need them for, you know, housework or blah blah blah, and then they would be part of the family, and then after a while, they ended up being with them, you know. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
it's
Almost,
definitely not just a love thing. There was a lot of slave trade kind of going on
yeah.
in New Mexico.
And for and the podcast crowd, you know, Felix, this is a live stream and podcast. The podcast will be
Uh-huh.
out on Sunday on Spotify and Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. But so folks know, New Mexico is part of the Southwest region of the United States, and in some respects, like you said before, Felix, the you know, we have these lines of our states are divided, but the culture spills over into other states, and the whole mixture of indigenous and Hispanic that goes all the way down to Mexico. And you know, the accordion is also used in northern Mexican music. Did you ever
Hmm.
find any inspiration with that, or with that kind of sound,
Yeah,
the norteños?
I think yeah, I think the accordion is, you know, of course it's worldwide.
Yes, yes.
We got to play with Carlos Nunez, who's from, you know, Basque Country and northern Spain.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so we got to talk to him thanks to Amp Concerts on that one. And you know, the accordion was brought in from, you know, from the Germans, and it kind of started in Texas. They brought it in from into Texas, and then it kind of flourished from there. And that's just in, you know, in North America. And of
Yeah,
course in Mexico, it went to Mexico. And you know, you listen to a lot of the polkas, you know, from, you know, northern Mexico or, you know, Texas. You know, they're very similar to the German polka, you know. So
yeah,
uh it's definitely a, and then of course it moved on to New Orleans or Louisiana, and they
yeah.
did a whole other thing with that.
Yeah,
So
that's such a great point, Felix. And you can kind of see the evolution of your music through the travels of what was the name of this, the conquistadors who went through the whole Southwest? Was it? Oh, I forgot his name. I'm a history teacher. I'm forgetting my history. But the cool thing though, Felix, is that the music has taken on its own life and mixture. And maybe there's a
uh-huh.
message there for us as people, Felix. You know, one of the things about the show is that we really want people to think progressively on how, you know, we really want to get along as people. Like, what do you think music can do in that respect?
I think, you know, it could break the borders. You know, we were kind of scared when the first time Felix y Los Gatos got to do a Zydeco Fest actually in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
there was some really big hitters there, you know, some Zydeco players. And they're like, who are these, you know, who are these guys coming up here and, yeah, you know, gonna do what they're doing here? And we are scared, and we're like, you know what, let's just do what we do. Let's not try to copy them. We're just kind of mixing what we do. And you know what, it went over well. People enjoyed it. They weren't sure what it was. You know, they're like, it's, you
Yeah.
know, like it's a green chili gumbo. We kind of mixed it all together, and people liked it.
Green chili gumbo. And you
Yeah.
know, Felix, that's kind of the way I was just watching the history of jazz documentary, and that's kind of like the way music is created, right? You know, the different forms. You bring a little of this and a little of that. It's, you know, being from New York, people don't realize that salsa, the music, was created in New York. It took Cuban music and Puerto Rican music and other African beats, and they mixed it all together, and they came up with this music called salsa. And so you guys are kind of with your green chili gumbo, creating your own
Right.
sound, and it is amazing. Felix, where can we find your stuff? With the we're gonna play a song here in a minute, but what's the best way? I know you're on Instagram. Where can we hear your stuff?
Uh, Literally, if you just Google it, I mean, either you Google Felix y Los Gatos or, you know, Felix Gato Peralta. It's on all platforms at this point.
Yeah,
You could, you know, you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Pandora. You know, if after the pandemic you could hear us playing for Mariposa Music, or, you know,
yeah, we're
anywhere
looking
in
forward to
Albuquerque
that.
or New Mexico.
Shout
So
out to
yeah,
BB.
yeah, and Road Dog, we have a booking company, a booking agent out of Denver, Colorado, which is Road Dog Touring. You look them up. We get to go, pretty much internationally with them, usually.
Yeah,
But
typically.
yeah, typically. So yeah, you could find us just about everywhere,
Yeah,
and
well,
especially some
that's
of my
pretty awesome, Felix. And
yeah.
so now I wanted to get to the little rumor that I heard.
Uh-huh.
A fellow musician friend of yours said that
Uh-huh.
you are opening up a business soon, and it's on
Uh-huh.
Sunset. And did you want to unveil that now or wait till some other time?
Well, it's definitely is a rumor, but it's there's a lot of hustle going on.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, I was brewing beer
All right.
at the Black Snout Brew House, which was close to my house here on Wanta Bow. So, and I hosted an open mic there. Unfortunately, the place closed due to the pandemic. But I was still brewing beer, and I like to learn a lot of different things in life. Just like the next person. But
Yeah.
yes, my friend owns that building there on Sunset, and that's where I grew up. And that was my first job was at Big O Tires in that building.
Oh,
And my
wow,
friend
that's so cool.
and my friend was the alignment guy, and he just worked and worked. And now Mr. David Trujillo, he bought the building. He owns a lot of real estate, and
Yeah.
yeah, our dream is we were about to open up a brewery when all this hit. So now we're just kind of taking it slowly and see where the
Sure.
next step is going to lead. And I think we're going to do something good there, and it's just going to take some time, extra time.
Well,
So
Felix, when you do open it up in whatever capacity, I know it's going to be a hit, and maybe we can
yeah,
broadcast a show from over there. That would be fun.
I think we
I'm
could do a
not.
lot of things
Yeah, no, and I know you're
for the
a huge
community.
proponent of the arts. Even when you're
Uh-huh.
not performing, you've always booked shows for other people. You've always referred other people. You've always been out there with the community in Burke
Right.
and the whole state. But I don't want to out the person that told me. I'll just describe him as the owner of the Slice Parlor, and
Uh-huh. Oh, well,
he's about 6'2", a guy from Carlsbad. So I think you know what I'm talking
I know
about.
you're talking about. He's a great guy.
He's
Yes.
a great guy, yeah, and he lives he has a place down by Sunset. He's like, ask Felix when he's gonna open up that brewery, and I think,
Tell him to call me. Maybe we could work something out as well.
yeah, there you go, dark snout beer and pizza. There you go, and then
Yeah,
you got,
I have my own black IPA, which was a Black Cat IPA. So hopefully we could keep that going.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
that sounds cool,
soon.
Felix. Thank you so much. We're gonna play your song. Can you set the song up for us really quick? Tell us what we're about to hear, and yeah, take it from there.
Yeah, so this song is called Comanche Highway. It's about the New Mexico and the Henizado roots. Being part Comanche and part Spanish conquistador. I
Yeah,
embrace both. And I thought it was always a fight. So the song is kind of just fighting within yourself of what are you? You
yeah,
both
yeah.
fought each other. But now you're just kind of making peace with who you are. And so
Yeah,
that's kind
I
of what
think
it's about.
that's an incredible message for everybody out there. We experienced what we experienced, and of course that's good. There things will take care of themselves on that end, but we really have to move forward together as people. And
Right.
sometimes your two sides don't agree. Sometimes there's a tough history, but you just
Right.
gotta put it together. So I'm excited to hear the song. And
Awesome.
we're gonna play it right now. And is this out anywhere on any platform yet, or
It's on every platform.
it's
It's
on
under
every platform?
Felix. Yeah, Felix Gato Peralta. It's called Comanche Highway. So please enjoy.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks again, Felix. Let's
Yeah,
make
thank
sure we
you.
hear it.
Comanche Highway, passing through the canyon. by the unknown. I'm a landless Inizado. Blood in pain terrorize the desert land. Servant sold, I just can't understand. Like a pelt of buffalo, I'm a landless Inizado. Once a warrior on the eastern plains I ride. Enslaved by the Spaniard clan, learn to love Jesus Christ. Our religion was the buffalo. I'm a landless Inizado. Our religion was the buffalo. I'm a landless Inizado. Comanchera, coyote de Apache. Two religions fighting within me. Like a pelt of buffalo, I'm a landless Inizado. Like a pelt of buffalo, I'm a landless Inizado. Our religion was the buffalo. I'm a landless Inizado. Our religion was the buffalo. I'm a landless Inizado.
Oh man, Felix, that was incredible. Thank you so much. I am going to go out and
Thanks,
get
man.
myself a copy. Thanks so much, Felix, for all you do, for coming on the show. We look forward to more projects, and we'll talk really soon. I'll let Adam know that you need to team up somehow. You down with that
That
for
sounds
sure.
great, man.
All about New Mexico. Appreciate you, hermano. Have a nice rest of your
Right.
night, and we'll talk to you
All
really
right,
soon.
man.
We definitely have to have you back on. Adios y gracias.
Thanks, brother. Later.
All right, that was Felix Peralta and Felix y los Gatos. super duper. That was a solo piece by him. But the Felix y los Gatos and Dos Gatos, amazing, awesome. There's no other word to describe them. Very much the New Mexican flavor. Of course, that one sound defines this state, but they combine the traditional roots with modern tones and sounds. Thank you so much to Lee Francis with Red Planet books and comics and everything else he's doing. Please check them out. All the info will be on our website. Thank you so much to Karen Criswell. Super awesome for coming out and being here with us and really giving us some insight into the film industry and how it really does affect us here by providing jobs and helping the local economy. And we will definitely have her back on. Definitely as we get closer to post-COVID. So go on the new website over there, which of course we'll link from our website, communitypublishing.org/SMARTalk. Next week, we've got some awesome guests. Go up on our webpage and you can check out to see who's going to be on. Be safe out there, protect yourself, protect others, and we will see you next Friday on SMARTalk.
You're listening to SMARTalk, conversations with filmmakers regarding progressive solutions to society's most pressing problems.